Ladies and gentlemen, this is the state of the scene.
Yo, what the fuck is up, Warped Tour? The state of the scene at SOTS Podcast on all social media. Sam here with Margos.
Monkey see, monkey do.
I actually think lyrics from Kublai Khan songs would make great intros for you, actually.
Shit, fuck.
Exactly, precisely, yeah. Yeah. You see how they got a real punch to them, you know?
It's a good point.
That's why they use them in songs.
Selling pussy on the interstate.
Okay, not that one. That one we
Is that the lyric?
That one we're not doing. That one we're
Okay,
skipping.
my bad.
We're skipping over that one. We're jumping right next to the next one.
Forget it happened.
Marcus, we got a crazy episode. We got a fucking jam-packed episode. We're gonna talk.
Yes.
We're gonna talk about the return of Warped Tour. We're gonna talk about new music from Underoath, Whitechapel. We're gonna review the brand new album from Kublai Khan, which will be out the Friday you're listening to this. We're also gonna give our thoughts on the new EP from House of Protection. Plus a bunch of other news stories intertwined, some Patreon questions, a little bit of dated discourse, which happens to feature Dave Grohl. Who saw that coming?
Ooh.
Who saw that coming?
Uh-oh.
So let's jump right into it, Marcus. Emily Armstrong of Linkin Park has since apologized for her early support of Danny Masterson, still continues to receive criticism for her Scientology ties, and played the first date of the From Zero World Tour in Los Angeles alongside the rest of Linkin Park in what amounted to a 27-song set list. And then this all culminated in Linkin Park's The Emptiness Machine being the #1 song on active rock radio airplay charts. So it's been a continuously busy 2 weeks for Linkin Park.
Very small window for all of that to be happening in.
I know. It's like for a second there I was like, has it even been 2 weeks? Like I guess it was last Thursday. I feel like it's been a week and
It's
a
been
day.
a week, I feel like.
Like if we don't count the fake countdown, which led to nothing and went nowhere, and we just jump right into when shit actually happened.
We don't count that.
We don't count it. It never happened. A lot to break down here. I don't know ultimately if Emily Armstrong is ever going to really get out of criticism for her past actions, which are probably criticizably worth their criticism. But I don't know at this point what more you can ask for other than an apology. Linkin Park seems to be full steam ahead and doing significantly better than anticipated. They had the #1 song in the UK this week. It is their highest charting song ever. So think about that. Think about that.
In the UK?
Seems like doesn't even seem feasible, right? Doesn't even seem possible. It's oh no, Linkin Park's got 715 bangers, right?
Right.
They've got a laundry list of bangers. Just last year they put out Lost that had vocals from Chester Bennington.
Well.
Yeah. Seems to be dwarfed by the return of Linkin Park with new material, freshly written new material. So people are incredibly excited just at the premise that this band is fully back, as opposed to sort of doing re-releases or remasters and things of that nature.
I think part of it lends itself to how well this band, leading up to the single releasing, hyped up their reunion.
You're saying their marketing was almost more on point than anything else.
Yeah, and you have to factor in it wasn't just this past week or 2 weeks. It was Lost. That all contributed.
That's a good point. That's keeping your name in the forefront of people's minds,
This
right?
is years worth of drumming up excitement. Linkin Park are doing things, but they're not really back. And now they finally are back. And I think, there's a lot of curiosity there that was a massive part of this. That there were a lot of people there for those countdowns, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then the song comes out and it's really fucking good too. That helps.
I think that's probably the part of this that is most important, is that the song comes out and it's not bad. It's not bad. If it was bad, I think it probably would have bounced off people pretty quick, and then we'd all just sort of shrug our shoulders and go oh, another older rock act back at it,
Also, it's a very emotional thing too. A lot of people never thought they'd hear another new Linkin Park song. Here we are.
The emotional thing resonates with people. I think there is, stuff with the Emily Armstrong aside and how people feel about her ties to Scientology. Linkin Park has so much sort of positive reinforcement. their name generates sort of so much positive reinforcement. People, like a lot of people just have like good memories of this band, right? That I think that to have them come back, it's like that swell of support was like always waiting for them.
And even specifically just to this scene, everyone cites Linkin Park as an inspiration. Everybody.
It's funny because they've almost come back when their sound has sort of begun to sort of rise again in popularity.
Yeah, it's interesting.
Like as the nostalgia of their era sort of becomes what everybody starts replicating, suddenly they swing in and do Linkin Park. I won't say as best they've ever done it or anything along those lines, but, you know, as best Linkin Park can do it. Like they're doing this sound. We're getting it from the best version, like the best version.
As best we
It's like
could
I feel like
have-
I gotta be so careful how I word it. You know what I mean? I just don't want somebody to walk away from this and it's like, oh, he's saying Linkin Park's better than they were before. It's like, come on, guys. It's like, so understand what I'm trying to get at here. Linkin Park were like the godfathers of like popular radio new metal. So like for them to come back and do it well, it's like,
I think the
it's
way
like a
you phrase it
reminder.
is as good as you could have possibly asked for.
yeah.
I'm sitting here just shocked. I love the song as much as I do. And you know, it'll be hard to ever replicate the same heights, but at the same time, like, I'm not going to deny a good song.
Did you see that set list?
It's pretty fucking, it's solid, right?
Wide ranging. Like
I don't even
full, that's a practically full catalog. I know the Hunting Grounds always gets like a, oh yeah, we
The
did
Hunting
record
Party.
that record. We must have forgot to put a song on the set list. Damn.
Hunting Party.
Yeah, Hunting Party, that one. But like, shit, like My December was on there. I was like, okay, like we're pulling out like some weird deep cuts here.
It's also interesting. I like that it's very clearly separate from that the live stream, and that like they didn't open with the new song in the same way that they did on the live stream. So like, I'm curious how much it switches up. Also, World Tour, we're one date in, we got like 5 to go over the course of the next month.
I mean, this is like, this feels like the band sort of like getting their feet back under,
Yeah,
like getting
for
their
sure.
sea legs before they actually go on like a real tour theoretically. I don't know. What do you think? This band waits a few months and announces like a summer headlining tour?
I don't know. A few months from now, the album drops, right? So maybe
that is really soon, actually.
Push hype around that album with a tour announcement, possibly.
I just don't
Would
know.
make
Like,
sense.
if you play in New York, do you have to like before you announce your next tour? Do you got to at least wait 3 months so that like you're not hitting that same crowd again, or does it even matter for a band like Linkin Park and people are just going to show up no matter what?
I don't think it matters, mostly because that show sold out instantly. So it's not
That's a fair
like
point.
there's not a demand there still.
That's a fair point. Marcus, in a recent interview with the Metalcore Nerds podcast, Craig Mabbitt of Escape the Fate says he would be interested in a reunion with Bless the Fall. Marcus, I think we're coming up on like 35 years of his last walk.
I'm gonna fucking cute. We're coming up on 16 years. Does that sound right?
Yeah. Sounds close enough to me.
17?
17?
2007?
17 would be this year, so the 18-year anniversary would be the following year.
Right, but I'm saying This War Is Ours was 2008, meaning that his last walk was 2007 or 6?
You were literally the authority on this, so I really don't feel comfortable
Damn it,
with you
I'm losing
asking
it.
me.
Losing it.
How do you like the idea? What do you think of the idea of like an Escape the Fate Bless tour where maybe Craig jumps on a song with Bless the Fall,
Yeah.
right?
Right. It's confusing because I feel like, did the Metalcore Nerds not ask for additional contact? Oh, also, is this us?
This is a poll. I mean, we are Metalcore Nerds, but
Yes.
we're not the Metalcore Nerds.
Right,
That's them.
Did they not ask for context? And
I
what
didn't
we
listen to.
mean?
I didn't. With
The
all due
last
respect,
tour both of those bands did before Bless the Fall went into a 4-year hibernation, and Escape the Fate had to deal with, both had to deal with COVID, but
This was
they
pulled
did
as a
This
news
War Is
quote.
Ours and Witness in Full. That was a tour they did together.
Craig Mabbitt wasn't on Witness though, so he couldn't sing none of those songs. He wasn't allowed to. Those are both songs.
So a reunion would be neat, but I wouldn't need it more than like one show, because Bo Bacon is Bless the Fall to me now. Like, that is his band, right?
Okay, fair.
And it's the other members' band as well, but like, Bo has earned his place in Bless the Fall. Obviously, it's also been 15, 16 years, so
I just thought it was novel that Craig is even interested. You know what I mean?
Listen, I think Craig agrees about that paper, and I don't blame the guy.
Okay, I see what you're saying.
Also, his last walk is a generational album. Like, it makes sense to me.
That's a fair point.
That we'd want to go relive that.
Sure.
All right.
Marcus Chapel Rowe, in an interview with Rolling Stone, referred to Hayley Williams as the strongest bitch ever. Ever.
Not how Chris Motionless would say it.
Okay, we'll get into that later. You make it sound like Chris Motionless hates Hayley Williams, which is not the context of that statement.
We'll get into it.
Hayley Williams also then in like an interview said she was really inspired. An interview with Dork Magazine that came out today said she's like, oh yeah,
With the Metalcore Nerds podcast.
Right, says that would be funny. She's really inspired by like modern day pop artists like Chapel Rowe. Marcus, did you see Chapel Rowe's performance at the VMAs?
Decked out in the fucking
insane.
The chains, literally. Yeah,
insane. Absolutely fucking insane. Just full on Soulsborne fucking Elden Ring performance. Just absolutely fucking immaculate.
People are saying Joan of Arc was the inspiration, I believe.
Yeah, Joan of Arc from Dark Souls 2. Yeah. There seems to be a lot of like tip of the cap respect going from the pop community to Hayley Williams lately. Obviously, Paramore getting pulled into the Eras tour. Halsey apparently was quoted like between today that they were recording this or like yesterday that she like looks up to like Hayley Williams within the music fucking. When I say scene, I mean everyone, not just like our alt scene.
Extreme side note here. The new four, like the four new Halsey singles have been incredible.
I haven't heard a single one. They're really that
incredible.
Good.
There's
she dropped 4 singles already. I thought she announced the album like a week ago.
Yeah, I think we dropped all of them at once because the album is like split.
That's like
into
70s,
decades,
80s,
is
90s.
my understanding.
Yeah.
So like, there's the 70s one called The End. I believe it's the 70s one that was incredible.
It's a very novel concept, like this whole approach.
Yeah.
I really like it because I like specifically like the vinyl layouts for like the different album covers depending on like
it's
the
neat.
Fucking generation that we were paying homage to. Marcos, I don't know if Hayley Williams is the strongest bitch ever. Like I've seen some really like muscular
This is what we're doing.
other women, you know, and I just like
Emotional strength, Sam.
Oh, I see what you mean.
Yeah.
Okay. And that same interview with Dork Magazine, Marcus, Hayley Williams confirms Paramore demoing new material before and during the support slot on the Eras tour. Marcus, new album next year. What are we?
Yeah, I was gonna say we're not doing this 7-year gap anymore.
No, fuck that shit.
Never happening again.
Insane, bro. Insane. We can't. We're starved out here.
7 years between After Laughter and This Is Why. Nah, not this next time.
There also seemed to be some implication from Hayley within that interview that Paramore's continuing to feel very experimental based on sort of like the fact that their last 2 albums seem to be welcomed with open arms by the Paramore fan base and are dramatically different from one another.
Sure.
And are even more dramatically different than their
Let's keep
first
getting
few
different.
albums.
I don't care. Just put up music. Like, we're years behind. We got to play catch up.
Okay, so you don't care what Paramore does, just that they do something. That's where you're drawing the line.
I need Paramore to take extra inspiration from touring with Taylor Swift and actually do their own Eras tour.
Okay. I don't hate this idea, to be fair. I mean, the irony of fucking Taylor Swift's Eras tour is that she's literally just doing what every other band with a large catalog has done before, but there's just a really like lovely naming convention. Because like you could go see the Eras tour any day that you like. If you go see this next headliner from fucking A Day to Remember, I'll sure they'll play songs from their whole discography, every era of the band. And it's completely welcome for any band to do it. The Circle Season 7 contestant Heather Richardson, a rock and metal tour manager, is catfishing as We Came as Romans member Andy Glass. Marcos?
Is this consensual?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, he's in on it.
Okay.
So I was reading a post that Heather made, and she's like, I needed somebody who'd be able to like go in 100% on me with it. Like, I didn't want them to just send me pictures and give me approval. I needed them to like be fully in. And she's like, Andy was fully in. So that's why I went with him. Now, have you ever watched The Circle?
If he's fully in, then how is it catfishing? Like if
he's fully in on the catfish.
If the victim is like, send me a photo of you drinking Coke, and then Heather texts Andy and she asks the same thing so that she can send it, then she's just the middleman.
Is the point of the circle to like ruin someone's life? Like I've never watched this show. Like I don't really even know what the premise is. Like is the idea to get somebody to fall in love with Andy Glass and then like shatter their reality when like Heather Richardson steps out from behind like a fucking
would be
velvet
my
curtain?
guess. It has the same energy as like an old VH1 show. VH1, is that what it's called?
It is VH1.
Yeah.
You want to say like VHS? I know you did, but like no, it is VH1. You're correct.
I wanted to say VHS one, and I'm like, that's not it either.
Any interest in checking out The Circle if you know that the scene is now somehow correlated? Like there's now a crossover that might interest you?
A little bit. I'm not gonna lie.
I need to understand exactly how this works.
I know how.
We Came as Roman streaming numbers going to jump after this? Like, are a lot of people going to walk away from this and be like, oh yeah, they got Andy Glass from We Came as Roman?
Season 7, I don't know.
They're a pop punk band. Like, that's what they'll start calling We Came as Roman. They're a pop punk band.
I like the choice of going with Andy because it's just believable enough. Like, you go with, like, Dave, and it's like,
I don't know if We Came as Romans are popular enough that regular viewers of Netflix series The Circle might be able
That's
to
where you're wrong.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
What do you think makes up the bulk of We Came as Roman streaming numbers?
Yeah. That's my thought, though. Like, do We Came as Romans get the Circle bump?
We'll see.
And you just see people running it back every year, and it's like, oh yeah, no, it's the drummer from I Prevail, and it's like
they do it again. It's still Andy.
They just. Marcus, as always, every link you need is in the description of this episode, including our socials, playlist, merch, and Discord. Subscribe to us on YouTube at SOTS Podcast YT, and leave a thumbs up if you're watching the video version of the podcast. If you happen to be listening on Apple or Spotify, please leave 5 stars. Data discourse this week: Dave Grohl's confession. Earlier this week, Dave Grohl, vocalist of beloved rock band Foo Fighters, shared the following Notes app apology with his followers. I've recently become the father of a new baby daughter.
He doesn't
born
talk like
outside of my marriage. I plan to be a loving and supportive parent to her. I love my wife and my children and am doing everything I can to regain their trust and earn their forgiveness. We're grateful for your consideration toward all the children involved as we move forward together. The post seemed to serve as a preemptive strike at acknowledging and apologizing for what would surely leak sooner or later and cause outrage from fans demanding a statement. Marcus fans were nonetheless upset, learning that their generally morally upstanding rock star was not quite so perfect, proclaiming, "There goes my hero. I've got another confession to make." And other various memes.
Yes.
As ways of exuding their
coping, apparently.
Coping, yes, that their cope.
Yeah.
Can Dave Grohl salvage his reputation as a lovable rock star? And have we now seen peak Notes app apology as a tragic art form? 2 separate questions.
Asking me?
Yeah.
I'm gonna be real. This is the most I've ever liked Dave Grohl.
Shut the fuck up,
This
dog.
is fun.
Okay. Yeah, this is fun.
Like Foo Fighters.
Family destroyed. Destroyed.
They're all like 40.
Destroyed. They're not all 40. I mean, like him and his wife, I guess, are
They're
older.
like 60.
But he has like 2 daughters who are like in their
Like 28
late teens,
each.
early 20. Is that true?
Probably.
Probably. That
don't
helps.
know.
So you
Who
don't know for
cares?
sure. That's just what I needed to establish.
Listen, this is the most exciting Foo Fighters have ever been. They're unpredictable all of a sudden.
Okay.
They're like, who knows what they're gonna do next? Does he cheat again? How many more Dave Grohl babies do we have out there?
Okay, sure. Yeah. Wow. A lot of different angles you can come with this stuff. I never even considered all those.
Listen. Other observations here. I like how deeply like offended people are at this happening, but still getting their jokes in. Like, which is it?
This is everything now. This is everything now. It's coping. You said it yourself. This is coping, right?
I guess. I don't know. Listen, also, this Notes app apology is beautiful.
You thought so.
I thought so, yeah.
It's clean.
It's just, I'm not saying like, from like,
Dave Grohl's got a good publicity team. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
That's not a Notes app apology that was fired from the hip. Like this one's been in the workshop for probably like 3 months now. You know what I mean?
Considered and intentional.
It's gone through like 12 different editors, you know? Like if you had to tag each individual one, you'd be like, oh my God, it took 12 people to write this Notes app apology?
Yeah.
That's crazy.
I don't know. I personally don't care at all. That's my angle. I don't really care what celebrities do with their lives.
Okay, all right, okay. But you're saying this makes Foo Fighters a little cooler than they were before?
It's super cool.
Okay. How do you feel about the Notes app apology at this point becoming just the like its own art form, right?
What is better to do though? Like, I don't know if I can do the Instagram live Notes app apology.
I didn't know that was I didn't know that was a version of the Notes app apology. That's a version of the Notes app apology.
Like, I'm just saying, like, you could have gotten that instead.
You're
like
saying you
Dave
don't know
Grohl
what the
pulls out the
alternative is.
ukulele.
Yeah.
You think that's any better?
I don't know. I guess no. My statement, and it's just Dave Grohl sitting in front of a fucking ring light and the fucking YouTube video. I just mean like
All will be revealed soon.
the
Like the
Notes app
countdown to the
apology
video.
at this point could be local band can't make their show at the VFW hall, and or Dave Grohl of Foo Fighters has cheated on his wife
Right.
and is expecting another child. Like, I just mean the rage.
Local man ruins his entire family.
The
and
rage.
reputation.
Yes, that's precisely like the rage. Like, one thing all bands have in common now is the Notes app apology.
I
and
think it's-
cheating on their girlfriends, but in that order.
Yeah, but like you got to have a lot of respect for like the Notes app apology being like that flexible. Like
That's what I
it's
mean.
so
It's
capable
become-
of doing so many things. It's a real
It's an
intangible
art form.
Yeah.
It's an art. There's like you see those guys come out and they're like, they got like early reviews of the Notes app apology. They're like, I just, when he said, when he said to regain their trust, in that instance, I think I might have actually said, rebuild their trust. So, it doesn't feel entirely genuine to me.
Was this written by AI?
Oh, that's a good one. That's a good one.
Yeah.
That's a good one. I want that job at a label where it's like they come to me and it's like, oh, I know you're out in like literally 30 minutes, but Dave Grohl may be having a baby with another, and like we got to get this statement out before the end of Friday. Somebody said Dave Grohl dropped this like 3 hours before the presidential debate.
It was a
as
business
way,
decision.
Yeah, like as a way of like his way of burying it. His poor fucking daughters both deleted their social media accounts.
No shot.
Yeah, like they were just not.
All right, now I'm
interested.
feeling bad.
Like they were. Well, you should have felt bad from the start. Once again, family destroyed.
There's a fresh
People
new
make
baby in the
jokes
world.
when bad things happen. Do they care? You tell me, Marcos.
I don't know.
You fucking tell me, bro. Patreon.com/SOTS podcast. If you want to support the show and write into the show.
Maybe this new baby's more talented than Dave when it's all said and done. Like, this could be a very beautiful thing that happens.
I see what you mean. It's like this is a flap of a butterfly wing that ends with a new rock band 30 years from
Right.
now. That
Nirvana
smacks.
too.
Yeah. If you want to support the show, consider becoming a patron for exclusive content, the ability to submit questions to the show, and producer credits on all of our video content. Patrons also receive access to bonus podcasts, SOTS Deluxe. On this week's Deluxe, we talk Motionless in White and 10 years of Reincarnate, but maybe more importantly, Marcus's interaction with Chris Motionless himself, plus new music from Mod Sun and Distant. This show is only around because of your support. Patreon.com/SOTS podcast if you'd like to see it continue. Jacob asked this week if you could show an alien race one Earthling song to show them what we all about, which song would it be? Marcus, how do you interpret this question? Is this like a what we're all about in terms of music, or like what we're all about in terms of like you play the song for an alien and they know we don't fuck around? You know what I mean? Like don't come at us with your bullshit. Like, this is the music we listen to.
I mean, right, you could take a lot of different angles.
Right, that's what I'm saying.
How threatening do these aliens feel?
Do I want to scare them? Like, do I want to play them like the heaviest fucking like death metal song I can fucking think of, just to like try to spook them a little bit?
Yeah,
You know
yeah,
what I
yeah.
mean? Or like a nasty hardcore song that feels like it's got like a chip on their shoulders, like you fuck with us, we fuck right back. You know what I mean?
Or do you pull out like a music video and it's like Gwar and it's like, yeah, this ain't it. Like y'all got to go through them if you want to come get us.
Yeah, or this is what we think of you, like you're literally a joke to us. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Did you see fucking Sabrina Carpenter make out with an alien during the VMAs?
I did.
Okay.
She's been making out with a lot of people lately.
Yeah.
Jenna Ortega.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a good point. She
Yeah.
has been making out with a lot of people lately. Wait, do we show the aliens?
How would you feel if you were Barry?
Do we show the aliens that performance?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's
I think you
like-
show them the Chapel Roan performance. That's like got a real like
They wouldn't get it. They wouldn't understand it. They wouldn't appreciate it the way we do.
No.
If I had to show an alien a fucking song,
Again, I don't know the angle you take. Like, do you show them like Vessel? Like, do you show them just a weird looking thing?
Do I show them Vessel?
Like Vessel's like alien looking, and
we show them like a song about
who are like aliens? Like, do you try to scare them off visually?
Well, the alternative is that we show them like a pop punk song about like friendship. You know what I mean? And then they're like, okay, yeah, no, they're cool.
Do you show them a really depressing song?
Just try to like bum them out and be like they don't want to stay.
Yeah.
Like they just turn around and leave.
Yeah, that's what we about.
We show them a bad song and then they're like, ugh, this place has no culture. Let's go. It's a waste of our time.
What's the first bad song you show them?
You're not gonna like my answer. Maybe you will like my answer. I don't know. Ask Alexandria came to mind immediately. I was just like, I'll pay them the most recent album, and they'll just be like, oof, all right, good luck with that.
The album, so not specifically Love Drunk, but like all the songs that surrounded that on the Boys Like Girls album.
Boys Like Girls?
I just remember like that album sucking.
I mean, that album was bad. It's just, what a pull. What an absolute fucking pull.
It's the first thing that came to mind when you said a bad band.
All right, so some combination of all that. Christian asks, still coming off of Gojira's performance at the Olympics.
Aren't we all?
What combination of bands and locations would make for the ultimate live show? Personally, I'd have Enter Shikari playing at the Eiffel Tower with a light show covering the whole tower and pyrotechnic drones around them. Isn't this just the plot of fucking Spider-Man Far From Home, or am I insane?
Close.
By the way, I can't remember if you ever covered Blackout Problems on the show, but it's shaping up to be my album of the year, or top 5 at least. Think a mix between Dead Lakes, Normandy, and Enter Shikari. They dropped a deluxe a few weeks ago, too. All right, I will check that out. But before we get to that, Marcos, you put a band anywhere you want. Crazy light show. What are you doing? What are you doing? What are you thinking? What are you feeling?
And Shikari on the Moon.
Enter Shikari, you're literally taking his thing.
It's but it's bigger and better.
Okay, it's better than
The
Eiffel
Moon?
Tower. Sure. I mean, like, I'm not.
No. Well, it's either that or I go smaller production because, like, and we kind of get into it in the news, but I need to see Whitechapel play in a cave.
Okay. You might have gotten your wish.
I like in real life though.
Oh, okay. You know what I would like? I want to see you know the redwoods in California, like the trees that are like their trunks are the shape of like a house.
I have an answer, by the way.
I just want to drop a metalcore band right in there to film like the most expensive
biggest
band in
forest.
woods. Like, let's just go Alpha Wolf. We're dropping you off at the redwoods, and you're gonna do.
You have 24 hours to make
what God intended metalcore to do. Yeah.
I like the challenge aspect of it. Like, you drop a band into a random location, you say you have 5 hours to record a music video.
What do you mean by challenge? Are you dropping them in like a fucking alligator
Well, you were
swamp
just like,
or something?
I'm gonna take Alpha Wolf. I'm gonna drop them.
Oh, you're saying
bare naked in
like
a forest.
I blindfolded them and like put them in a
Yeah.
helicopter
They have
and then dropped them
72
off with
hours.
like a videographer and a director.
Right.
Yeah. What's a dangerous place to film like a music video? The like the rim of a volcano that's like semi-active or something.
I've seen 20 bands do that this year. I think it's a green screen, but I can't be sure.
Okay, and now I understand what you're saying.
I want to see Sleep Token at
Yeah.
Stonehenge. Does that sound dope?
Yeah,
Get
I
all
mean,
the
I
members
guess.
on top of one of those rocks.
Okay, yeah, that sounds
You're
fine.
feeling this?
Yeah, that's all right.
right.
Caillou asks, which album cover would you have tattooed and where would you have it placed?
Fuck, I don't know how to.
It feels like cheating because, like, I
All
guess
our gods
you
have
do.
abandoned us.
Yeah, I guess you already have it.
Yeah.
So, like, you've
Next
won.
one I would get. I feel like I have never seen it done in a way that I really would like it done myself.
Interesting start.
But There Is a Hell, like the lady who's got the key and the dagger.
Shit.
Yeah, I feel like I've never seen it done like
crazy.
perfect, so I've always been like hesitant.
Comment if you're watching the YouTube video. Let us know what album art you would get tattooed. Me personally, I always wanted like the fox from like an Amorosa album, and I never got it. But sometimes I still think about getting it. I really liked the imagery of the fox and like
Foxes
what it
are
meant to
fucking
me
cool.
when I like super fucked with that band. So
Yeah, that's fair.
Andrew W asks, what are your favorite movies to watch during spooky season, bro? Let's fucking go.
I think one of the most underrated movies of all time is Haunt. It's perfect for spooky season because it's literally at a haunted house.
Haunt is such a good fucking film. What an incredible pull on your end. I hadn't even considered that one.
Yeah.
Fantastic choice.
Watch it all the time. I love that movie so fucking much.
I feel like you were almost taking this in an angle of like, what's a cozy, like easily repeatable horror movie? And I'm trying to think like, I mean,
everyone's definition of cozy is very different.
Sure.
Like people's like
people don't
comfort
even like
film
horror
is
movies, I get
Texas
that.
Chainsaw, like whatever.
I like 3 years in a row when it first came out, I watched like back to back the first of the Halloween remake movies. And
It was
I
fun.
really fucking enjoyed that film. Yeah.
I always remember like the dropping the teeth on the floor. Mm-hmm. That shit. Oof.
I just love that the premise is two podcasters who is like
I
the start
related
of
a little
it.
too much.
And then no spoilers, but they meet their
They get Halloweened.
yeah, they get Halloween. Scream is pretty regular. I feel like I watched that one
Yeah.
like fairly consistently.
I'm a real Hocus Pocus diehard. I'm not gonna lie.
Okay.
I thought Hocus Pocus 2 was all right.
I love so many horror movies that I feel like I could just rattle them off endlessly.
Keep going. What?
I intend to watch It Follows this Halloween specifically.
It.
I always make it a point to watch new horror movies during Halloween season, though, so I rarely do a ton of revisits. I picked up like a super special edition 4K version of You're Next recently to go with my super special 4K edition of Green Room, and I'm probably going to watch both of those at some point,
I'm gonna
specifically
rob
during
you.
October. No, I've hidden them.
You've hated them.
Yeah.
Fair.
But like, yeah, no, when like spooky season comes around, I think of all the horror movies that I haven't caught yet that I'm like excited to watch. Like I was just thinking the other day, I never watched that one. I think it's called like in a Violent Nature, where it's like all from the perspective of the killer.
Coming soon to Shudder.
Right. No, it's as of today, it's on Shudder. I'm excited to watch that. Maxine comes to HBO Max like within a couple weeks, and I'm really excited to watch that too. Abigail, I've been meaning to watch, which came out this year.
You know what I was thinking? Not enough movies actually take place on Halloween. Like, outside of 42 Halloween movies,
I agree.
you have like Halloween Town 2, and that's like fucking it.
I always
Trick
like
or
the like
Treat.
drama TV shows used to have like a Halloween episode and then like a Christmas
So
episode.
good,
right?
yes.
Like the vibes are always like really strong. I always used to remember like I'd even like it when I was watching a show like Arrow, which is like this is so stupid, but it's like, oh, this is the Christmas when a villain attacks, and we fight him off, and then go back to our mansion. Oddity is another movie I've been dying to watch, which I hear is very
Honestly, it's so
creepy.
bad.
Yeah. And like
Excited for Heretic,
which one's Heretic?
the blueberry pie candle.
The blueberry pie? What the fuck are you
So like
talking
there's
about,
two
dog?
like Christian missionaries, and they like go
Oh,
up to this.
fuck!
They like knock on this guy's house, and they're like,
This guy,
"Do
you mean
wanna
Hugh
learn about our
Laurie?
fucking our
No,
our
not
fucking
Hugh Laurie. Yeah, Hugh
Yeah,
Laurie.
who said?
Yeah, Hugh Laurie.
Hugh Grant.
Hugh Grant. Who's Hugh Laurie? Is that House?
Hugh Grant of Wonka fame. Yeah.
Hugh Laurie would have killed that role, though. We got to get away from horror movies. We
Who's
gotta talk
Hugh
about
Laurie,
them forever.
House?
Isn't that House? I'm pretty sure it's House.
think so.
House MD answers the door. What you do? Andrew W. asked, what are your... No, we did that one.
Andrew already
Luke B.
did.
asks, how have you been lately? Love your shows every week, lads. Thank you, Luke. I appreciate that.
you.
How have I been? I've been, I don't know, not good, honestly. Not good. 3 weeks into a fucking diet, in the middle of like the return of like pumpkin spice flavored like fall seasonal lattes, and I can't have any of them within this diet, has been tough. It's tough. It's tough to go to a coffee shop and order like a black cold brew, and
You've
then the
never-
person next to you is like sipping like decadence.
Decadence.
It's been depressing.
You've never seemed more depressed.
I've been a little depressed lately.
Yeah.
I've done a lot of the exit the fucking world and just like listen to a podcast and play a video game for hours on end, which probably isn't healthy. I've had a weird hot and cold relationship with music where none of it feels fulfilling or makes me happy the way I want it to.
You sound like Jeremy Fragrance right now.
Who the fuck is Jeremy Fragrance?
He's on TikTok, and he's like this fragrance icon, and he
Oh.
had a clip earlier this year that went fucking insane viral where he talked about like oh, and this fragrance is one of my favorites. And he like puts it down and he's like, I've been having trouble coming lately. Like, like I masturbate and it's fun, but like my heart's not in it.
What the fuck, dog?
Hey, Jeremy Fragrance is a fucking legend.
He sounds
In this house, he's
hilarious.
a legend.
How are you?
Run the clip. I'm fine. I've been having trouble coming lately.
Okay.
Yeah. No. I've been like back into video games in a way I haven't been in a while, and that's typically like a thing for me. Like it happens in stints. Like I'll really get into a game and then fall off for 2 years, and then eventually get back into video games. But been playing a lot of Diablo 4, which is super mindless, and fucking Balatro, which a lot of people are saying is like their game of the year, and it might be mine too.
Okay.
Coming from a person who's played 2 games this year, it's poker until it's not, and it's a lot of fun. And I've been fucking playing that shit nonstop, baby. I've put like 30 hours into it over the past 3 weeks.
I've been buying a lot of video games, like
And not
stock
playing
hoarding
them.
for like, yeah, you know, like I'm a prepper, but it's just to make sure I have enough video games just for like the
To
next
get you
apocalypse.
through the next Cold War, yeah.
Yeah, that's precisely correct.
Outside of that, yeah, I don't know. I've been fine.
Like $1,200 on video games, $45 on food. How do I survive this fucking Cold War?
I'm a little mad that like I feel like we really botched our show attendance this year in a way that will never be redeemed again. And I say that in the sense of like, not that we've missed a lot of cool shows so far, but like, bro, why aren't we going to when we were young? Well, like, what are we doing? That's really been catching up to me.
If only there was a cross-country festival that came to you. I mean, shit's fucking expensive is part of the problem. Is that the second I think like, hey, maybe I should go to When We Were Young, I'm like, well, that'll probably cost me $2,500 minimum.
$1,000,000,000, yeah.
And that's just gambling.
Linkin Park are back. Linkin Park are back. We're not seeing them live yet. Like, this is stupid.
All right, well, it's not my fault that Linkin Park's like, hey, I have a show next Wednesday.
I know. Listen,
it's fucking like that's.
It is weird.
Close.
It's a Wednesday.
Yeah, it's not like convenient.
Mm-hmm.
Melvin asks, did you guys know the members of Baby Metal are in their mid-20s? I thought they were like teenagers. It's more of an observation,
That's
I suppose.
the whole. Oh, the members of Baby Metal aren't babies. That's what?
That's funny.
My brain is broken.
Very funny. No, I really honestly thought they were like in their mid-20s because hasn't this band been around for 10 years?
Yeah, at least. And
like,
I
maybe
think
they
that
were fucking
was
17 or 18 when they started. Now they're
Yeah.
gonna be like late 20s, right?
And I think that was like what a lot of people were surprised at when they first came onto the scene. They were like, "Oh, these are kids playing these instruments. That's neat." And now people grow old.
Do you think they talk about Baby Metal like in Japan the same way we talk about like Caleb Shomo over here, where we're like, oh, he was 14 and a half when he wrote Stick Stickly.
Yeah, I think.
But
they might.
like I never considered that maybe Baby Metal were like 14 and a half when they wrote like their fucking debut album. Never considered it.
Possibly.
Marcos, the fucking news brought to you by Shibori Threads, the clothing label of the alternative music scene.
The news.
Warped Tour rumors are heating up. Metal and rock news outlet and YouTuber Rockfeed is stating that according to multiple sources, Warped Tour will be returning in 2025, 6 years since its final one-off festival dates in 2019.
Yeah, those sources fucking us. who
We're
have
the
been
source?
saying
We're
this
the
shit.
source?
I'm the fucking source, Sam.
You can't
I've been saying this
manifest
shit for
shit
6
and
years.
be a source.
6 years been talking about, yeah, I could see Warped Tour coming back as a fucking festival. And now it finally does, and everyone's like, oh, actually,
I do love
Marcos
the idea
never said that. Yes, the fuck I did.
that we can meme things into existence.
I have made a fucking podcast career out of it.
Oh, we said Linkin Park were coming back 6 years ago. I was like, what? That early? It's like, yeah, we just knew.
Yeah.
We had a feeling. According to Rockfeed, the touring festival is set to return with a series of festivals, which is difficult to parse in terms of whether that means it will be a cross-country tour or something more similar to a few major markets having individual shows. Marcus, Live Nation is said to be taking over the brand, but with founder Kevin Lyman still heavily involved. I'm going to pause there.
I'll never understand the Kevin Lyman
What don't you understand about
association
Kevin
still.
Lyman? He invented it. What don't you understand about the Kevin Lyman
Bro, he's not even a
Association?
part of fucking Vans. Like, he
No,
stepped
Vans
away.
sponsored, Kevin Lyman created. Vans still has to sponsor, right? Like, it can't just be called Warped Tour. It has to be called the Vans.
You need the
Warped
logo
Tour,
on
right?
the poster with Vans on it, yeah.
Yeah, it's just not the same without it. Like, nobody wants to go to the fucking Yeezy Warped Tour. Like, nobody.
Nobody?
Or... I'm trying to think of what shoe brand.
One of us might.
What's like a popular, like the fucking New Balance presents Warped Tour? What's a popular shoe brand right now?
New Balance is up there.
New Balance feels like they're up there, but it's got to be like Nike and Adidas. Could you imagine like fucking Nike's Warped Tour would feel so strange to me?
That would send me into a spiral.
Do you think Converse just goes out of their way and ponies up like
Ponies
the
up.
money? You know what I mean?
I think Converse are being asked to pony up the money, not that they are in need of ponying up the money.
I don't know. Do people fuck with Converse the way they fuck with like Vans?
Yeah,
like
Converse
I feel
have
like this
sneakers now.
could be. That feels like a Coke Pepsi to me. Like Converse is always like at the bottom looking up.
I think it's does fans want to be associated with Warped Tour still, in the sense of we know its history, it's had some negative press in the past.
We'll get to all that. Uggs Warped Tour?
Uggs Warped might do it. Tom Brady wears Uggs.
All right, let me give you the rest of this before we move on. According to a user in the When We Were Young 2024 group, consider this a rumor by default of what I said there, more information has been given. They said, what's being planned will be just 2 or 3 static locations, Atlantic
this.
City, Vegas,
Garbage.
and somewhere in California, or
Fuck
what I was
that.
told.
I'm already out.
But that
if we
info
don't
was
bring this
not
back in
current.
New England, then I'm gonna find Kevin Lyman,
All right.
and I'll let you guess what I'm gonna do to Kevin Lyman.
They went on to say the idea is born
That wasn't a threat.
out of trying to re-excite the When We Were Young crowd after a lackluster third year as far as sales go. Marcus, I thought that bit was very interesting. I thought that bit was very, very interesting. Because
This is the coolest When We Were Young lineup yet.
yeah, but it's a novel idea, right?
It is a novel
Which
idea.
made me think that maybe there was some concern that, like, people wouldn't show up like they did the first and second year. Or maybe the second year had a slight downturn, and then they were like, okay, well, let's come up with, like, an interesting way to pitch the third one. But now, like, if the third one isn't doing good, is it just, like, a little bit of burnout on the emo nostalgia? People just, like, this year not being willing to spend the money just because,
No,
like,
I think it would
the
be smarter to
economy's a
bring
little
back-
dumpster fire?
I mean, I think that's part of it, but I think it would make sense to try for year 4, as opposed to bringing Warped back in a, I don't know. Warped doesn't have that same, I don't know.
But I don't know that this would replace When We Were Young Festival in this theoretical, but just that it would add like another option.
To me, this is just
In theory, they are competing.
This
right?
is the sad summer killer to me. Like, that is the only thing this is. It's not competition to When We Were Young. I feel like When We Were Young is bigger and better at this point, and you're not going to catch a My Chemical Romance playing Black Parade in full on Warped Tour. You're
Sure.
only going to get that
Or-
on When We Were Young.
Will you, if it's built the way it's explained here, where it's like 3 static locations? Then it's essentially just When We Were
Right.
Young Festival in 3 other places.
2 or 3 or like 5 or 6 festival dates, like I've said in the past over the years, a couple of fucking dozen times. Rockfeed, I'm your source apparently. Yeah, potentially, but I also don't think anyone should participate in Warped Tour if it's not New England.
I like
If
the
one of
idea.
the dates are not New England, don't even bring Warped Tour back, Kevin.
I like the idea of a reporter keeping their sources anonymous, but you just like keep telling people you're the source.
I'm the fucking source.
And then, like, it will either prove, like, who it is by giving them up, or it's me. Like, pick your battle.
I'm the source. We're the source.
Like, if
Sam.
I'm not the source, then who's the source?
Is
Like,
it
you
not
tell me.
SOTS? I think there's at least fucking 20 episodes in the past where you can go and look up what we said about Warped Tour being a festival in the future. That exists.
Okay, so let's play this out. In order for Warped Tour to even fucking matter,
Bad Omens.
no, stop. It's got
Headliner.
Stop. It's got to be full cross country to me. It
No.
can't be individual festival dates. It can't. It's got to be.
It's just
The
not-
whole point of Warped Tour is bringing the music to the people.
Right. So
Don't
bring it
say
to
it's not feasible.
5 dates.
Bands go on cross country tours all the fucking time.
I think it has to be 10 dates minimum. But I can't see how it feels fiscally irresponsible to ever do 35 dates of Warped Tour.
This is not
ever
fiscal
again.
responsibility. This is not about fiscal responsibility. This is about punk rock, and punk rock
Sure,
doesn't give
so
a
make
fuck
the
about
show
fiscal
free.
responsibility. That's a fantastic idea. I love that idea. That is a great idea, actually. We'll just do tip jars,
Kevin,
on top of all the stages. So, like, you pass a band that's playing, you just put $5 in, and you keep walking to go see Bad Omens. All right. So I feel like you want to get to Sam C over on Patreon, patreon.com/SOTS podcast asks, all dream lineups aside, who do you think realistically would play and headline Warped Tour if it came back? Like, would some bigger bands do it solely for nostalgia purposes or helping other bands out? If it meant giving up their own headlining opportunities to do it? Okay, so like obviously Warped Tour ended, as we've been led to believe, because bands started asking for too much money. So like it became financially impossible to do Warped Tour the way it had been done.
It was
year
probably
over year.
that and a combination of worse ticket sales.
Sure, but that's because I think in theory you're not paying those bigger bands, so you end up with headliners that don't draw nearly as much. And a lot of people were like coming at me on Twitter and being like, Warped Tour doesn't have headliners. Literally, shut the fuck up. Of course they do. Maybe it's not like technically, but there are bigger fucking names on that. But the biggest name on that poster is your fucking headliner. Like, there were bands who would regularly be closing the festival.
I can see a lot of bands like...
There are no headliners on. Shut the fuck. Like, I've been to Warped Tour. Like, I went to Warped Tour when Sleeping with Sirens fucking headlined Warped Tour. I went there when fucking Attila headlined Warped Tour. Like, those were the bigger names on the fucking festival. No headliners. Stupid as fucking shit, dog.
I think if Warped Tour comes back with this bigger, larger than life, like, essence to it, you could get some of the bigger bands in this scene to absolutely headline it, up until like Bring Me the Horizon. I think like Bring Me, who have never had the biggest support stateside as far as like they've played some big venues, but it's not like Bring Me are playing the same venues they're playing in Europe. You headline them on Warped and put them in a fucking big ass room, like they're gonna play that. I don't think they're going to turn that down. And I guess like from a nostalgia thing, like you could see a band like My Chem or Linkin Park who like started at Warped, played Warped Tour, coming back and doing it. But like, I just don't see that happening. So I see like eliminate your Paramore, Fall Out Boy, Linkin Park, My Chem, Blink-182. But like all of these upper echelon bands that we suddenly have in Spirit Box, Bad Omens, Motionless, Bring Me the Horizon, I think if you tell me those are the three headliners at each of these fucking static dates, festivals, 100% they're all over it.
But then like, why even fucking bother is what I think. Then you're just using the branding. Like if it's not Warped Tour, then I don't want it. Then it's literally what we already have.
I don't disagree. I just don't think we're ever going to get what we had back.
Not with that fucking attitude, we won't. But we could. You could have another touring festival.
Again,
this
don't point your finger at me. Point it at Kevin.
Do you trust Live Nation's involvement?
No.
I know that's
the ickiest part of all of this.
That's like a fucking like the brightest red flag I've ever seen.
Yeah, I don't like it one bit. I want that done and over with immediately.
Dynamic ticket prices depending on what time the bands are playing. It's like, nah, get the fuck out of here with your shit. I do not trust you. Merch prices skyrocketing because Live Nation taking their cut. Like, nah, bro.
Don't like it one bit.
Do you think Warped Tour's name has been sullied to a degree that it does not maybe have the I don't know. A lot of people are making fucking
will tell
jokes.
You yes.
Like, oh, who's headlining? Chris Hansen?
Front
it's
porch
this
step.
A fucking FBI sting? It's like, fuck. I think I don't know what to say. Like, I know how it got this reputation. Like, I know why people are making these jokes.
I think we can take it back. It sounds worse when I phrase it like that.
Yeah.
But I think that Warped Tour's reputation can be salvaged.
Make Warped Tour great again. I understand what you're getting at here. Yeah. trying to think if there's any other aspect of this that I want to talk about. I mean, pricing would obviously be
It's gonna be fucked,
insane,
but it's gonna be fucked.
especially if it's one-off dates. Then it's literally just the pricing of everything else. Like
It's
you'll pay
festival.
$250 to get in the door. If it just like if it actually was a cross-country tour, it'd probably be like double what it used to cost. It'd probably be like $100 reasonably. I don't know why I have such hope, but I understand why it's probably a massive undertaking and a huge headache and costs a lot of money, but I feel like you can get some number guys in a room and figure out a way to make it work.
How many number guys in a room, Sam?
I don't know, like at least a dozen. Like good numbers guys.
You sound like a pretty good numbers
Smart.
guy. You think a dozen?
I think a dozen numbers guys, would probably get this done and figure out a way to make this like financially viable for everyone involved. We had it up until like only 5 years ago. Like, are things that different?
7 years ago?
Well, like 2018, I think was the last time it was like cross country, or was that?
No, I think 2018 was it?
Was that fun? Did they do 2 years of stupid fucking like Jersey Shore festival
I
dates?
think they did, yeah.
All right, so then like maybe 2017.
Which, so we have already seen this.
What? When?
The Atlantic City fucking festival warp date.
Yeah, but those sucked and nobody fucking cared. Like, who fucking cares?
Who
Then it's
headlined that?
literally just Memphis Mayfire, dog. Who fucking cares? Like, that was literally just any other festival ever, right? Like, that's not what I'm asking for. Like, it needs
Isn't
to
every
be the
festival
tour.
just every other festival ever now, though?
Yes. That's why Warped Tour can't be that. That's why it can't just be a date in Atlantic City and Vegas and fucking San Bernardino or some bullshit. Because then who fucking cares? Then it's just Riot Fest or Rocklahoma or Blue Ridge, RIP. I don't want any of those things. Like, it has to come to me. The tour has to come to me. I don't want to go to a tour.
How about this? Vans cross-country Blue Ridge tour.
Sure. It sounds lovely.
But potentially more cursed.
In the Blue Ridge, in the name of the fucking like mountain like
It is,
range,
it
that's
is,
like
it
I mean, it
is.
feels pertinent that it stay in that one area, but also maybe never come back. So I just like if it's one-off festival days, it doesn't matter. Like I don't know how to reiterate that more, but like we've never had more fucking bands in this scene. You can fill a Warped Tour roster like by just throwing darts at my fucking Spotify release radar. Like this shit is easy, and we've got everything now. We've got a pop punk revitalization. They're running back fucking early 2000s metalcore. Shoegaze is cool again. Like you can fucking you got a variety of shit. Deathcore's never been bigger. Like you could drop fucking a perfect Warped Tour lineup nowadays. You've got so many bands to choose from. It's actually better than it used to be.
You keep it mixed genre?
I definitely keep it mixed genre.
Yeah.
That's the whole point.
Yeah.
Different stages, different styles, like a catch-all for like the scene in its entirety. And you look at a lot of these festival dates and it's like so much headliner power, and Warped Tour doesn't need that. Warped Tour just needs like 6 very relevant names and then like a ton of other bands in the scene to kind of like fill the day out, right?
I don't disagree.
This can work. Call me. Email me.
Put Sam in
I'll
a room
figure it out.
with 12 numbers, guys, and you'll get warped for another 20 years.
I mean, you're going to have to make like obviously like a fucking 6-figure investment in just me figuring this out. So like that's a little bit off the top. That goes just to me.
The numbers guys will figure it out.
Underoath have released new single Teeth. The song follows up 2 standalone singles from last year, Lifeline and Let Go. The band's last full-length album, Voyeurist, was released in 2022. Vocalist Spencer Chamberlain on the new song. Quote, "With our new track Teeth, we dove into a pretty exciting territory for me, something I've always wanted to explore with the band but never felt was possible. It almost has a vibe reminiscent of classic hip-hop samples or something that, brace for it, Linkin Park might have done, which I find so cool. I never imagined we'd actually pull it off on an Underoath song, but it came together so naturally. Lyrically, the song puts you in a scenario of predator and prey, and in this case, I'm the prey. I'm challenging the other person to confront their cannibalistic nature, explaining to me what it feels like to tear through my life as I bleed out in front of them. End quote. Guitarist Timothy McTaggart adds, quote, one thing we keep coming back to as we embark on this new chapter of the band is just lean in. Nothing is not us, and think we remembered we can do whatever the fuck we want. Instead of trying to write a specific type of song, we just let it write itself. I think the really difficult and meaningful work as an artist is knowing when to get out of the way, and creativity is sometimes letting the song write itself and not trying to mold it into something it isn't. Now, more than ever, personally, I think that songs have an identity and almost a soul if you let them. That's what Teeth is to me. Marcus, the band will embark on the 20 years of chasing their only Chasing Safety tour this week with support from Static Dress. Underoath currently set at 1.7 million monthly listeners on Spotify.
Yes, sir.
I need you to fill more than that while I sip water.
I think that Teeth is... It might be my favorite song of the Underoath comeback era.
Favorite song of the Underoath.
So like post 2016.
I feel like
15.
What this band came back in 2015. This band's been back for 10 years.
They've been back a decade.
What the fuck, bro? Why are we talking about
still
our return?
feels so
like
fresh.
you're just like this is just you being a band now. Like stop talking about like
Return from vacation? Like y'all,
like, what are you talking about?
Y'all had a summer break?
I'm like kind of with you just because like this is so dramatic.
It's exciting.
I don't know because I feel like Voyeurist had a lot of like weird fucking
It had the Ghost Band
offbeat,
feature.
interesting shit too. Just none of it clicked for me. This kind of like clicks for me.
Yeah.
Like it just feels like this band is kind of like getting better at being experimental, if that makes sense. Like,
well, and they alluded to it. I mean, they outright said it at some point. Like, I just like that this band is willing to take risks as far as songwriting goes. Like, there was no reason this band had to write the song, but they still did, and it came out awesome. And that's really cool to me. I like that this band is just still throwing things at the wall. And like you said, sometimes it can result in
bouncing off the fucking wall
in a really messy album that I really liked at the time, but like it's at points when you re-listen to it.
We've said this a million times. It's like I don't give a fuck if a band experiments, but like don't tell me it's just good because you did something different. Like it has to be good, and that's kind of where I always end. Like if it's good, then I really don't give a fuck what any band really does. Like
or
ultimately, I
sounds
don't
like
care that this sounds like anything like Underoath used to sound like. It sounds dramatically different than like the Underoath I fell in love with, but I found this to be pretty cool all in itself.
I end up still finding myself really invested in a sound change like this because they pull it off.
I was like a little like hesitant at first, like when I started hearing Spencer Chamberlain like almost like pick up the tempo and like almost start rapping, and I was like,
oh yeah, there was like
direction we're going for. Like I don't know if this is what you guys are looking for, but then they kind of like managed to somehow pull it off, and like when that like little baby breakdown comes in, and they get this like real like clash of like this really like soft melodic like almost like synthwave style against like something that's more akin to like the aggressive Underoath we've come to know. And like they blend the like different styles really well in a way that's incredibly compelling.
I also kind of like the way that the band presented themselves in this video as a two-piece.
You like that, huh?
I kind of liked it. Well, not as a permanent thing. I just thought like for this type of song,
it makes sense on this song.
With this video, I liked that approach.
I am excited to hear them play this live. I assume we're going to get this song in addition to their only Chasing Safety. In its
Do you
entirety.
remember the other two singles, Lifeline and Let Go?
I'm pretty sure I listened to them and neither of them really clicked for me. I got the impression, based on the press release, that those were like one-offs, but now we may be building up to a new album.
That's more exciting.
And this would be our lead single.
Lead single? Yes, I'm all in.
Yeah, I'm kind of.
They've got my attention.
I thought fucking. What, his name is escaping me. Aaron
Gillespie.
I thought
former
his
Paramore
voice,
drummer.
I feel like I almost like forgot what he sounded like. Like, has he done much singing in like recent like Underoath releases? He has?
Yeah.
Because he came in on this and I was like, this is fresh. This feels new again. Like Underoath, like they got their fucking shit back together or something.
I think Aaron's voice just has that effect on people. Like I as much as I've heard him sing, I've never gotten enough.
Right. They don't abuse that vocal dynamic enough. Whitechapel have dropped a new single, A Visceral Wretch. The song follows up 2021 album Kin, marking the first new music in 3 years, not including their Live in the Valley release from earlier this year, which was a live performance album featuring songs across their whole discography. Vocalist Phil Bozeman on the new song. The song is disturbing. Imagine being put in a situation of survival by gluttonous mammoth demons that give you a choice. Eat the demon's waste, eat each other, or starve to death. The twist? You're against the people you love the most. It's a way to find the ones that are truly evil people to build and strengthen their cult. It also represents how horrible people can really be when push comes to shove. The band will be sporting Lorna Shore on the Pain Remains tour starting this week alongside Kublai Khan TX and Sanguigagabog. Whitechapel currently stand just shy of 450,000 monthly listeners on Spotify. Marcus, what the fuck is he even talking about in this fucking press release? Like, what are you even like? What is this weird fan
Phil
fiction
Bozeman just be
written?
saying shit, and I love him.
Bro, two demons, like, they come up to you and say, "You want to live? You have to eat our waste or starve to death."
It's a real like
choose your path.
It's a real someone caught him off guard asking him what the song was about. And it's just like, what's it not about, honestly? It's about demons who...
Yeah, I got you. All right, hear me out. It's like, what the fuck are you even on right now? Though I guess when you're writing a deathcore song, maybe this is mentally where you need to be. You'd be like, fuck, this shit about demons.
I feel like you have to dice roll on like words. So right, like you roll the dice or whatever. Like you point at the dictionary, demons. Yeah. Okay, whew. Gluttony, mammoth, and you're like, okay, how do I write a song about any of those words?
Yeah, no, I'm vibing with this. This is good. Like it's like a fucking like a Pinterest board of like ideas for Whitechapel songs. Marcus, there was a moment at the beginning of this track where you said, "I'm in."
Yeah, it was the moment that Phil delivers a scream with like mouth barely open but full frown on his face.
Uh-huh.
Just legitimately crazy to view.
Like you understand what we were going. You understand like the commitment here from Whitechapel for what they were going for.
I think it's no secret Kin probably didn't do as well as this band was hoping, which is a shame because it is an album I still enjoy to this day. A Blood-Soaked Symphony is like as heavy as any of the other shit this band has written. Like that's
right. Even though this is being celebrated as a return to like the Whitechapel you used to love,
right?
Which is funny because you and I really sort of like clocked in right around the valley, and we were like, "Oh, this band's good now.
It's never been better.
This band's good now."
So like I'm fine with the pivot, and so far it's really working for me. Video itself, again, watching this band just perform in like a random cave in Tennessee is. This band is on their own making caves relevant in metalcore music videos. As far as like, bro, like relevant, like they are like putting caves on their back,
right?
And they're saying like no to the forest, no to the snowy setting, like
they
snow
found
falling.
their niche within a cliche.
Yeah, no warehouse. We're gonna find the deepest, moistest cave in Tennessee, and we're gonna rock it.
Yeah.
Because it's not the first time they've rocked in the cave.
It's not.
I think a Blood-Soaked Symphony.
He brought his
parents'
symphony
family
in a cave.
He brought his parents' dead bodies into the cave.
Do you feel like this band was like, fuck, we're touring with Lorna Shore. Should we just like drop like something really now, like something that's really gonna like impress like the Lorna Shore fans specifically? Like maybe they haven't heard of us. Lorna Shore's probably got like a bit of a younger fan base. Maybe they're not as familiar with Whitechapel. Like let's show them that we can also make
they're known as
insane
the
mouth noises.
dad rock band now because
That's actually hilarious. That you're not far off from the truth there. I'm excited for what Whitechapel does next. I'm curious if we get a whole album that kind of sounds like this, or if we get something that's a little more varied, like Kin was. Knocked Loose have released a new music video for dual singles, Moss Covers All and Take Me Home. Both songs come from the band's latest full-length album, You Won't Go Before You're Supposed To, released earlier this year via Pure Noise Records. The video was co-directed by vocalist Brian Garris alongside Eric Richter, who's known for his work with Jesus Piece. The entire video was done as a single take. Brian Garris on the video. A one-take / no cuts or edits video is something I've always wanted to do. A lot of moving parts and hardworking extras on and off camera to make this work. I'm so happy with it. The band are currently supporting Slipknot on the Here Comes the Pain tour and will later headline their own tour this October with support from Drain, Military Gun, The Garden, and a last-minute addition of rapper Danny Brown. Knocked Loose currently claim 1.5 million monthly listeners on Spotify.
I like that Knocked Loose never half-assed a music video. Some of them are like just downright inventive, and other ones like this are just fucking insane to watch.
The whole cult angle this band has taken for like the last 2 years, like even the singles that didn't like end up on You Won't Go Before You're Supposed To, were like
Midwest goth cult
it's like it's really compelling, like it's really like unnerving, and the way they do it in this video where it's like frantic and you're being followed and surrounded all at once, and it ends with this sort of like final moments of Hereditary type beat where everybody's like mesmerized by, in this instance, the cross
on the artwork.
Right. The cross, which is known specifically from Knocked Loose's artwork.
Knocked Loose's cross.
Yeah. It's good shit. And the one take thing is always like, it fucking like, I love it so much. It's just like, because it really maintains your focus on the video, especially when it's something like this where it's like jumping all over the place and it's like you're constantly like moving. It's not just like it's one take and it's like a band's performance. It's like, no, you're following like Brian as he's like walking around,
or then someone you thought was Brian.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Like,
I like the black and white.
It tricks you. Like, it's very clever.
It like blurs some of the extras enough to where it's very unsettling seeing them appear on screen, and like obviously Brian communicates that really well when like they're standing in the doorway and he's like, I'm actually gonna go this way. A couple of separate times in that video. It's just really, I really love the atmosphere and the aesthetic that we've built around this album.
This whole era of Knocked Loose has just been like so well imagined. This is gonna sound weird, but I think this, for me personally, should have been the go-ahead single to kick off the album. Like, I think had they launched with
Remind
this...
me what it was. What did we get?
I don't even fucking remember. Because we got Suffocate second. And I can't remember the single right before that. But for me, this feels like it would have been a great like way to sort of introduce the concept. Like with this cross and everything in the video.
This would have been a cool video to launch it with for sure.
It just feels like this just feels right to me in a really weird way.
It would have had my buy-in on like a spiritual level in coincidentally leading up to this album in a way that like it's now winning that over after like post-release. I would have preferred it pre-release for sure.
It feels very like it would have you wonder, like imagine like you end the video with this and like this is a big cross, and then like that same day you get like the album artwork for it and all that shit. Like it just feels like it would have married really well together. Jinjer have dropped new single Rogue. It's the band's second single this year following Someone's Daughter from earlier last month. Both singles are leading up to the band's next album, tentatively scheduled for winter of next year, and will follow up 2021's full-length Wallflowers. The band shared the following on this new track. Ahem. It's a reaction to many things. It's brutally honest. It's in your face, and it's one of the most intense tracks Jinjer has ever released. The band will embark on a headlining tour this week with support from Hannah B.A. and Board of Osiris. Jinjer currently hold over 772,000 monthly listeners on Spotify.
That's a quietly really fun tour.
That is a fun tour. Born of Osiris has existed in my peripheral for so much of this year, but they're a band who I feel like have not stopped touring in literally since COVID ended. I feel like they've just popped up on a tour every 3 months like clockwork. Nice to see Hannah B.A. continuing to get their name out there. And I think I wholly underestimated Jinjer's popularity. Seeing them on a big North American headliner with strong support. They feel like they're a band who have sort of always existed in the outskirts of a style of metal that I'm not necessarily in tune with. And then I caught this track and I thought, okay, maybe I am missing something here.
Actually way more into this than I expected.
Yeah, or maybe it's just I was waiting for the song that would come around and find me, and it's definitely this one.
Yeah.
It's just very abrasive, and I think that Tatiana as a vocal presence, but also as kind of a menacing-ish presence in this video, being a very energetic front person.
Yeah.
It was really working for me overall. And for it being one of these fucking CGI videos, I found it relatively
Unreal Engine 5.
Unreal Engine 5 videos. I didn't find it to be weirdly distracting or what's that thing when you have disassociated from the performance in a weird way, you know what I mean, where it's I'm watching just a band stand in the middle of a planet and I'm I don't know, his hair's not even blowing. What
do you feel very removed?
Nothing about this it just feels I feel like we've done this a lot lately where we just take a bassist and we put him in front of a green screen, and it's there's a disconnect here for me mentally where I just feel we don't actually exist in the space that we're meant to be presented in. And this isn't one of those cases. This feels just realistic enough in this style of video. I know this sounds weird, but it gives me hope that maybe these fucking CGI style videos have a second life in them where they don't all just feel kind of bland background and are a little more integrated. I think about that one that we got a couple weeks ago too from that country singer. I forget his name. Mitchell
20 pennies.
And he's in a spooky house, but he's not really there or whatever. There's potential that these get much better moving forward. Marcus, you gonna keep a pulse on Jinjer?
I'm gonna keep a pulse on Jinjer.
Excited for the I don't think either of us heard Someone's Daughter. That would probably help set expectations for how excited we may or may not be for this album. They said winter of 2025, and I was December of next year, but I'm no, that's definitely January, February, which is cool because I feel it continues to kind of fill out the beginning of next year. We're saying right now I know they always come in waves where it's 3 weeks from now, every band who's got an album that's going to drop in December, January will all announce it together. But right now it just feels weirdly scarce after November. And I'm waiting for it to start.
Everyone was worried about Linkin Park.
Names. No, nobody knew Linkin Park was coming back. So how can they be worried?
Was it a well-kept secret in the industry? Maybe not.
I just had a weird idea. What if Oasis came back with a different singer? So it's no longer the two brothers, but they still brought it back. That would have been really fun.
Fun.
Zetra have released new single Holy Malice, Annabelle. The British synth rock duo's new self-titled album is now streaming everywhere. It features previous singles Suffer Eternally, Starfall, Shatter the Mountain, among others. The band released the following statement to coincide with the new album's release. This might be a top 5, by the way, so get ready.
I need you to say it with like some kind of accent.
Like a British one?
Are they British? I think they are.
I can't. I think they might be like Scandinavian. Heaven is not anymore. The sequence ends where all things do. With death, this persistent sea engulfs all. Beside the waves, the cycle starts anew. Life will rise as old structures fall. Our love will call on. In an interview, the band spoke about their black metal corpse paint presentation in contrast to their music. This was an interview with Kerrang, by the way. The influence of Scandinavian black metal is there in the aesthetic. It's there in the early lo-fi recordings and things like that, but it's more thinking about how that world, how all of those recordings and the pictures of those dudes, how that makes you feel rather than the actual sound of the songs or whatever. They'll be supporting Health this October on their headlining tour in the UK and EU. Zetra currently hold just over 16,000 monthly listeners on Spotify.
What a fascinating little tour that is. Health and Zetra. Zetra we've never discussed on the show. Zetra.
We've never discussed Zetra on the show, though I have had
that's why
my eyes on them because they are such a fascinatingly interesting band.
And they're British. Those song titles go insane, first of all. That's where I want to start.
Bro, Shatter
Starfall.
the Mountain.
Shatter it.
Suffer. Holy Malice.
Holy Malice is fun as well.
Annabelle. You and I, so we watched this first, but then we just kind of like cycled through all the other, like a couple of the other videos to kind of like just get like a better vibe for this band. And this is like the weirdest version of their like wholly committed to the bit in like a way that's like deeply serious and I really appreciate. Because part of this almost feels like parody. Like, what if we dressed up like a black metal band, but we played like synthwave?
Well, it's also super refreshing. Yes, the sound alone very refreshing. Refreshing too. In talk about the last video we just watched from Jinjer compared to this one, where like you feel like this band is surrounded by lightning and thunder and wind while you're watching this video.
Well, it's all like practical for the most part in a way that I really appreciate. So like watching the video for Annabelle and everyone has like makeup and stuff like that and they're wearing like masks and it's like the band is like face corpse painted and wearing like these fucking like costumes that it's like just it's like 2 steps above a high school play, but not quite a theater production. You know what I mean? So it's like the budget doesn't quite back it up, but they're so committed to it in a way that's really respectable.
Right. It's like the budget's not fully there in a way that makes it really enjoyable.
Right. And it's like, it feels like it doesn't matter. Like, it's really interesting to just watch creatives be like really bought in, into their like vision. And like, I'm reading this interview with them and they're talking about like, we just like thought, what if we combine like a couple of weird styles and not everyone gets it and it's not for everyone, but like some people really love it. And like, man, I really just love like this outlook. And dear God, do I love stumbling upon a band who it's like, this is not like anything I'm listening to. This is not like anything I'm covering.
Right. A band who's looked like this has never sounded like that.
Yeah, precisely correct. And I'm like, man, I wish every band would look at like what they're doing and be like, it's not enough for us to do this. How do we stand out? How do we be different? Whether it's how we look or how we sound or how we challenge people's expectations. And I stumble upon a band like Zetra and I'm like, oh, fuck, they're all of those things. So I'm really excited to go check this album out later this weekend. I was hoping I could fit it in before this episode, but I just didn't have the time.
Yeah.
The Breakdown.
Moving on, Margos, we have a brand new review of Kublai Khan's new album, Exhibition of Prowess, which drops this Friday.
Low tech in the maze to my gate. Fight the tide to the line. What I create and refine in mind for this low tech.
That is in the key bullets here at the top, Sam. Kublai Khan, hardcore outfit from Texas that formed 15 years ago in 2009. They also technically have a TX in their name for legal reasons, but we're not doing all that this review, okay? It's Kublai Khan from here on out. The band have been signed to Rise Records since 2017. Exhibition of Prowess is their 5th studio album, and it releases everywhere you listen to music the 30th of September, like Sam stated 42 seconds ago. It was produced by Randy LaBeouf, who has recently produced for bands like Jesus Piece, Wrist Meet Razor, and Boundaries. Wrist Meet Razor and Boundaries with albums this year. Was Jesus Piece this year or last year?
Jesus Piece, I believe, was last year.
Exhibition of Prowess is the follow-up to 2019's Absolute LP and 2022's Lowest Form of Animal EP, which you and I adored, that EP. The band will also be hitting the road on Lorna Shore's Pain Remains tour next week alongside Southern What's Gonna Bug and Whitechapel. The whole thing runs through to the end of like October. The band didn't have a whole lot to offer in the way of info about this new record, but they did have this to say about the latest single and opening track, Supreme Ruler, which I think actually captures the spirit of this album in full, which is why I wanted to share this quote.
Perfect.
Supreme Ruler is a metalcore torpedo aimed straight at the world. The song captures the true simplicity and pissed off essence of Kublai Khan TX in its rawest form. Straight to the point, no bullshit, and built to last.
Yeah, that pretty much sums this one up. This was not a terribly difficult album to parse here.
Supreme Ruler, one of 3 songs on this record that clock in under the 60-second mark. The other 2 being X, which is a song about being straight edge, and Ant Pile 2, which like follows up their biggest song in Ant Pile. Does it have more words or less words than the original Ant Pile, which is famous for having
less? It has
a lot of words.
Yeah.
It might
Somehow
have less.
it has less. Somehow.
Yeah. It's an instrumental.
We talked about that Throne album a few weeks back and
did.
how it was just like, as far as we were concerned, like just distilled version of pissed off metalcore in a way that's like really satisfying. And ultimately you just kind of think to yourself, like, there's not a lot here to break down, but what I'm hearing, I'm just sort of generally enjoying. Like, if you just want to have like a real disgruntled look on your face for about 26 minutes, then this album's going to do the trick for you.
Yeah.
If you want to throw hands with an empty room, this album's really going to have your back.
If there was like a VR experience where you could just go beat cavemen to death, this would be the perfect soundtrack to that.
Right.
Like I would
Right.
slide that PSVR 2 headset over my face, and I would like look down all around me. I'd grab a club. I would discover fire. I would set that club on fire, and then I'd get to work and I would just start bashing other cavemen over the head while listening to this album.
I think you're touching on it. This is like this is the type, every 3 months we get like the new soundtrack to a fucking bad day at work.
Right. Or a workout.
You know, exactly. So it's like, you know, like 3 hours overtime. This album hates to see me coming out the building.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. I check Google Maps. My commute's an extra 20 minutes longer than it should be.
I know that like a demure, thoughtful person on the other side of me at a red light hates to see me roll up with this and my windows rolled down. You know what I mean? Like, this album is just like, it's purely distilled, pissed off fucking metalcore. Supreme Ruler really does sum it up perfectly. I think the sandwich of Supreme Ruler and Ant Pile 2, the bookends of this album, are so beautiful in their own fucking Neanderthal type way, which is just like, we're going to kick this off with the angriest little intro and we're going to fucking end it with the angriest little outro. They really are sister songs in a lot of ways.
I don't know. This album just like, it really activates like all of your primal urges. Like, I just want to go outside and find the biggest rock and throw it.
Yeah, you turn into Hulk. I understand what you're saying. Yeah, you're punching holes in drywall. Like, you can't help yourself. But I think there were a couple things in particular that I needed your opinion on.
Okay.
And it specifically revolved around the lyrics, Marcos. In the song Darwinism, Matt Honeycutt says, "Dying, get the fuck out of my face." What did you think he meant by that?
Dying, get the fuck out of my face. So, I mean, this is a famous like Shakespearean quote. Did you know that?
I didn't know that, actually.
So this is like kind of a reference.
I didn't make it past English 101.
So I think there's been plenty of like literature written about that.
It makes more sense now in the context of the song that you've pointed that out. In Theory of Mind, Matt Honeycutt says, "Monkey see, monkey do, So who the fuck made you? What did you think he meant by
Right.
that?
So this one, I mean, I think it's just right there in the words. I don't think that one
It's
even
like a
needs
visceral,
explaining. Yeah.
like it's just sort of meant to be like a
That-
feeling.
I know we're doing a bit, and I'm having trouble yes-anding this one because my only thought when I hear the monkey see, monkey do is I need this entire song to be described in that way. Like everything is just led with monkey doing something. Monkey eat, monkey poo. Like
Right, precisely. And he just keeps rolling
Yeah.
with it. Monkey submits his tax
Right.
return.
But
Yeah.
monkey suck, monkey cock.
Yeah, sure.
Right.
Marcos, in the song Mud, Matt Honeycutt says, "Fool me once, fool me twice. I spent my
an
life
Office
trying
reference.
to live right."
Yeah, it's an Office reference.
That's an Office
yeah,
reference?
Yeah. This band does a really good job of hiding Office references into their music, and if you're not paying like real close attention, you're not going to pick up on it.
Of course, Lowest Form of Animal was a famous white shirt
Yes,
reference
It was.
when referring to Jim.
When referring to Mose.
Hmm.
Mose? Was that his name?
Just one last, if you say it was, just one last lyric here, Marcos. In Ant Pile 2, Matt
Yeah.
Honeycutt says 2. And what exactly did you think he meant by that?
So what is 2 greater than?
1,
And what is it less than?
3,
Well, there you go.
and there you have it. And there you have it.
But you didn't bring up my favorite lyric on this
What do you
song.
mean I didn't bring up your favorite lyric? Those were the 4
where
hottest
Matt
lyrics on the
Honeycutt,
album.
the biggest, strongest guy in the world, gets in his feels for a fraction of a second.
It is the funniest fucking thing that's ever happened. It's like a break character moment.
How much heartbreak can a heart take? Shut the fuck up, bro. Get back to the mucky words. Mucky do, fucking mucky heartbreak, like that. It doesn't, like, right? Like, it doesn't work.
I imagine Matt coming into the studio that day. He's like, "Oh, I'll try something a little different on this one. I'll try something a little different on this one." He scraps the lyrics that he had for the song, which was literally 3 words written on a fucking sticky note. He's
On a
like,
napkin.
fucking Jordan. And then he comes in and he's like, "If a heart aches, can it break?"
Don't break my achy breaky heart.
Yeah, precisely correct.
Right. Dumbest fucking lyric on this entire album.
If a soul can't feel,
It is so funny because, like, whatever, it's not even like that introspective or anything.
You just picture some. He's like hunched over like a desk with like a notebook, and he's like gripping like the angriest like fucking pencil grip.
It's
and he's
SpongeBob
like,
writing the, but he's like, those 5 words is what he settled on after a
Right.
long night.
I picture a guy with a knife carving his lyrics into like a desk. Like, if a heart can't take, if a heart can't fake, and if a heart breaks.
It's like 5 paragraphs of like that iteration all crossed off until he's landed on this one.
Just imagine him in like a lyric workshop with their producer being like, "Here's what I got today. Hear me out." And he's like,
I ran this word heart through an AI generator for a lyric.
I love the idea that Ant Pile 2 took like 8 hours to come up with the lyrics for that. Like, they tried a lot of different shit out, and they were just like,
Yeah, right. They tried 3. It didn't
it's
work.
not
Didn't sound right.
working. What's wrong? Favorite tracks on here, I still think Supreme Ruler is one of the nastiest fucking intros I've ever heard on an album ever. I think Ant Pile 2 is an insane outro.
Supreme Ruler bar none's this band's best song.
It's crazy
stupid.
how good it is.
It's just so stupid.
I think from the jump, like, things are really hot. Like, I think Darwinism and the Cannibal and the Axe.
Cannibal's fun.
It's
Got Dave Peters a throwdown.
I think the only song on here that didn't like fully click for me was A Hopeless Fate featuring Jamie Josta of Hatebreed. Like, that one just never really like went in a direction that like hooked me. But otherwise, I was totally in the pretty much the entire proceedings here.
And if you haven't picked up on it, it's the length of an EP, so it's a pretty quick listen.
We're talking about a band that says one word and then plays a breakdown, and then that's the whole song. Like, man, this is a review in name only. Go check out Kublai Khan if you like getting angry
Or Texans.
or two-stepping. Marcus, we also checked out Galore, the new EP by House of Protection, which is out now on Red Bull Records.
Let me repeat again. There are no accidents. Slipping from limb to limb. As we die within. Battle with no submission. Tunnel into the vision.
It's the debut EP, which comes from X Fever 333 member Stephen Harrison and Eric Improda. The EP was produced by X Bring Me the Horizon member Jordan Fish.
This is
Technically
talking
out of the
about
gate, this is like all three of theirs first new project, X their old project.
Have you seen like the TikToks where someone pretends to be on the phone and they say like all of their dog's favorite words?
I love
you want to go on a walk?
every fucking time you ask me this question because it's like the answer is of course he hasn't, but you set it up like you have a little bit of faith that I might have somehow stumbled on something once.
So they're like, you're bringing treats over to go on our walk later.
This just seems mean. Why would you do this to
Well,
dogs?
right. Well, they filmed their reaction, but like
Sure.
the entire time you like did that spiel, I'm like, you say House of Protection, I'm like, that's a good name. And then you say Red Bull Records, and every time I hear Red Bull Records, I just get really excited.
It's because they're so like the fucking them and Beartooth are like the only two bands that they fucking have that ever cross over into our space.
Yeah.
They're such a weird fucking label because I don't know how you even get signed to them. If I'm being, like I don't even know. Like they're so fucking random.
And it feels like such a prestigious like you. Not any band can get in there. So like any band that does sign to Red Bull,
why does
like
Red Bull Records have such a like why is their A&R guy like so fucking? He only signs like bands he truly fucking believes in. Like
Right.
Red Bull Records doesn't take chances. They only do wins.
and then like you go through all those names. I'm like Stephen Harrison. Yeah, I fuck with Steve. Eric Improda. Okay. Fever 333. Okay. Bring Me the Horizon. You said Jordan Fish, and I'm like on cloud 9 at that point.
So I've been pretty much on cloud 9 for this whole fucking project since we got like their debut single, It's Supposed to Hurt.
Which was the debut Fishless era, Bring Me the Horizon, Jordan Fish all on his own, production by himself thing. Like that's the first time we heard Jordan Fish separate of Bring Me, his production. It was with this band, so like that was exciting as well.
Right.
And I like that they did the whole project with him. And a couple of things. It results in an EP that I didn't expect, in the sense that like I thought I knew what this was going to be heading into it, and it ended up taking so many different twists and turns throughout the entire like listening experience.
This is one of
that
those
it caught me off
things where
guard.
like it's so fucking filled to the brim with just like creative ideas and different sounds and styles that it ends up casting a shadow over like 99% of what else I've listened to this year in a way that's like really disconcerting, because it's like once you experience something like this, you're like, man, what the fuck is everybody else up to? Like,
Right.
if this is like if the option is to do something like this and be this creative, like the whole fact that like both members of this band sing now and neither of them sang ever before, and they're like, yeah, we just decided like this is going to be our project, so we're going to have to learn how to do it. And they're both like incredibly compelling vocalists. And then connecting with Jordan Fish and just letting him sort of like flex a little bit across the like EP.
And that's what I mean as far as like this being a really unexpected listen.
It's like
Because
Fish gets his own song at one point.
that's what I mean. It's like not only do they just tell Fish like do his thing, they let him get deep in his bag. Like I'm talking like Hermione Granger, like arm into the entire bag.
Sure, yeah.
Deathly Hallows like type bag.
Yeah, they just like everybody walks away from this project looking like fucking visionaries.
Rock stars, yeah.
Yeah, it's such an impressive EP. You and I checked out the music video they dropped for Fuse,
Which is like when you're listening to the EP, like a standout track immediately.
Right.
So cool that it got a video. So cool that the video is extremely fucking watchable. Like all of their videos have been so far. And like you're saying, like two people who are suddenly singers that like weren't singers in the past. Like this band's entire story is so interesting and fun.
Right? Like it's like all of the things that had to happen for us to randomly get this assortment of artists together to produce like one of the most interesting projects of the year is like fucking Jordan had to join Bring Me, then he had to fucking leave Bring Me, and then Fever 333 had to like become a thing
Implode
because
from the
Let
inside.
Live fell apart, but then also like it implodes like its original lineup, right? And then we end up with like a completely different side project from two of the artists in that band, and they weren't even the artists that originally like made me gravitate towards Fever 333 to begin with, and we end up here. Like what the fuck? Like this is so cool.
This is one of the coolest TPs I've heard all year. And not even just TP, like just one of the coolest projects outright. You'd be doing yourself a disservice not to listen to this one immediately ASAP.
Great. Once again, you can follow us at SOTS Podcast on all social media. We'll be back next week with a brand new episode. Patreon.com/SOTS Podcast. If you want to support and get more contact and more fucking podcast bullshit.
Content.
Did I say contact? You can also contact me on there if you want. You can just send me a message. Be like, hey, what's going on? I'm like, I'm depressed. See you guys in a week. Bye.
Good bless.